Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Dee Reinhardt. I am your host today for Illinois WorkNet. We are going to be talking about social media and marketing, and we're going to talk about which platforms are better for you, B2B or B2C. You need to know what kind of business you have so that you can determine which social media platforms are best for you. Let's get started with our presentation this morning. We have been talking about business plans and the other essentials necessary for you to help your business grow or begin, basically. So one of the topics that is not necessarily included in the business plan is how you go about marketing and sales. We do have a marketing plan included in your business plan, but we have a component about how are you going to go about doing that, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit more about today. I am your guest speaker. I am a certified social media strategist, and I spent over 12 years as the marketing department for a local workforce development agency. I loved social media when it came onto the scene, and I just grabbed it up because it was like brain candy for me. Now what I do is I help small businesses figure out what the best strategies are for them to use social media. So if you have any questions during the course of the presentation about social media and marketing, please type those into that Q&A pod at the bottom of your screen. B2B or B2C, you need to figure out what that means. So B2B is business to business. When you work for other businesses as your primary client, that means that you are a B2B. My client is most typically another business. So I'm a B2B business. I do have some interactions with consumers directly because I do some one-on-one private consultations with people in the job search mode about LinkedIn, but the bulk of my business is B2B. Some examples besides myself might be a payroll service, or if you are a wholesale product person, maybe you provide logistics to get freight from one place to another. That would be a B2B business. Now, business to consumer, or B2C, is pretty easy to determine. The end user of your product is the consumer who buys it directly. Many examples of this include restaurants, clothing stores, nail salons, hair salons, all of those things that the consumer is the end user. Now, let's talk a little bit about what the purpose is. What do you want to achieve with your marketing, and where are you going to go with it? Your website needs to be your hub. When we're talking about all of these other social media tools, we have over 800 of them, but these are the key ones that we're going to talk a little bit more about today. Once you have your website established, you want all of the social media things to drive back to your website. You want your website to be the hub of all of your marketing spokes, of your online presence. Once you have everything going back into your website, the next thing is to go between the different social media platforms. So you want to make sure that you're sharing things on all of the different platforms wherever you can, so that you can make sure that your client will see you no matter what tool they pick up on. So what are your goals? Do you want to build some brand awareness? Do you want the world to know more about what your brand actually is or does? Do you want to provide thought leadership? That means that you share your opinions and people look to you as the subject matter expert on a particular industry standard or industry project. Whatever it is, you provide the thought leadership for that topic. Do you want to generate leads or promote sales or gain sales? If that's your case, then there are other avenues and strategies to use to promote your product or your service, to promote those lead generation and sales type activities. You also can provide customer support or advocacy. And one of the things that you can do with this is share information. For example, the National Weather Service shares out when there is severe weather or adverse weather happening in a different area. And maybe you, as a snowplow company, in the summertime might share those weather alerts out as an advocacy type kind of activity on your social media, because summer weather doesn't really have much to do with your winter activities, but you can provide that information. Customer support is when you have a large company, you want to make sure that you're answering the things that are going on maybe on a 24/7 basis. And if you're not going to be able to do that, you need to alert your consumers about that. Now, customer support is a little bit different for a mom and pop organization versus the major corporations of the world. Major corporations have staff that do all of that customer support activity, where a mom and pop might be doing this in their spare moments, if they have any. So you want to make sure that you're doing the best that you can do with that, but people understand that there's a difference between a large organization and a small business. What is the best platform for your business? Now, I've got a link at the bottom of this page, and it has a list of the 800 different platforms that you can access in social media, or what's considered social media. So how many of these icons on the screen can you name? It's incredible that there's all of these, and these are the primary ones. Raise your hand if you know what the little black icon with the B on it is. Did I stump you? Who knows what the red one with, I'm sorry, the orange one with the B on it is? I'm going to clear out some hands here. Give me just a second here. Who knows what the orange one is with the B? All right, so we don't have a whole lot of people that know what all of these tools are. So investigating them and knowing which ones are best for your business is what we're going to talk a little bit more about right now. If you want to find out more about all of the platforms, please go to that link that's at the bottom of that page once you download the handout. So we're going to talk about the top 10 tools that I've found to be the most beneficial to most businesses. What we're going to look at here, we're going to start and go through them as a list. So if you have any questions that are on topic of social media marketing, please ask those in the Q&A pod so that I can get those answered for you. Blog. Blog is short for weblog. It is where you can share your opinions, your subject matter expertise. You can do how-tos. You can share client testimonials, success stories. If you're working on a project, share the items from start to finish. Maybe you create a top 5 or a top 10 series. There are a number of different platforms. Blogger is the orange tool with the B in it. Tumblr is the blue one with the T. TypePad is the one that looks like it's a leaf, and WordPress is the one with the W and the glow around it. Now, each of these platforms has a tool where you can create a blog without having to have a website. My suggestion to you, if you are a business owner, is find a platform that can allow you to have your blog on your own website. That gives you the ability to have that search engine optimization come back to you on your website instead of giving that SEO to one of those other platforms. My favorite tool is WordPress. So when you self-host your website, try to do it on a WordPress platform so that you can update things, add a blog post whenever you want to. Let's move on to the next slide, which is LinkedIn. Now, LinkedIn is probably one of my very most favorite platforms. One of the two things that I think that you need to do, if you have time for nothing else, you need to have a blog on your website. That would be number one. And then number two, you need to create a personal page on LinkedIn, and you need to try to have a company profile on LinkedIn. Keep your personal profile current and up to date, because people will check that out, and keep your company profile as a place for you to post status updates. Now, this is very relevant to a B2B business. I think LinkedIn and blogs really lean toward that B2B industry, but you still, as a B2C person, need to have a LinkedIn profile. One of the things that I teach when I teach LinkedIn is that if you are searching yourself, your own name or your company name, you will come up number 2 or number 3 in most search results with your LinkedIn profile. So take into consideration what you can do with LinkedIn. And a couple of the tools that you can use for sales as well as lead generation is the advanced search function. And make sure that you're using keywords relevant to your industry in all of your profiles. Next, we're going to talk about Facebook. Facebook is the place where your friends and family and perhaps coworkers share the space. You can share updates, events, pictures, video, link things back to your website, provide check-ins if you're a B2C business, and then maybe you want to do quizzes or contests or promotions. Make sure that you're following the rules that Facebook has in place so that you're not going to get your page shut down. You want to make sure that as you're sharing any of that information that it is done appropriately according to Facebook rules. Pictures are huge on Facebook. If you are having something going on in your location, snap a picture and upload it right there from the app on your smartphone. Both Android and iPhones have an app where you can do that directly from your phone and post it to your Facebook page. So consider all of those items. Now, the rule of thumb here is 70, 20, 10. 70% of the posts that you make are related to information. 20% of the posts that you make are related to information on your website. And 10%, only 10%, should be a sales pitch. So try to remember those statistics: 70, 20, 10. 70% other people's information, 20% your information, your thought leadership, and 10% sales pitch. That's applicable to all of the platforms. Twitter. A lot of people think that Twitter is not so good. I talked to a couple of my nieces who just graduated from college. That's all they use. You cannot restrict the followers on your Twitter feed so anybody can follow you. You need to be able to have a brief level of communication, 140 characters at a time, and it's actually recommended that you post no more than 120 characters in case somebody might want to retweet your post. Incorporate @ tags. That means that you put an @ symbol in front of somebody's name or a company name. And hashtags are a searchable item where you might have something going on. You put a hashtag in front of it. We used to have one for Illinois WorkNet webinars that was, I believe, IL WorkNet hashtag, so that you could share and tweet at the same time. Twitter is a great tool to provide customer service, and it's a great way to find potential clients. When you are working with the search function in Twitter, look for keywords related to your industry and follow up with those things for customer service. Whenever I have a question for a company, I always do an @ tag with that company name and ask my question. I usually I have an answer within about 24 hours. Sometimes it's almost immediate. It depends on the size of the business. As I mentioned earlier, mom and pops, I don't expect an answer as rapidly as I expect from somebody that should have 24/7 customer service available. You can also tweet from events. You never know when somebody might show up just because you've tweeted about something. Food trucks are huge in this industry about tweeting out their location so that they can alert their fans to specials that are going on or where they're going to be. So watch Twitter when you're looking for specials from a location that you know, especially that you know that uses Twitter on a regular basis. For Twitter, I think it's B2B versus B2C. It's kind of evenly spaced whether or not you should be using it. Now, one of the things that you can do with Twitter, and I recommend this, is on LinkedIn, you can have your LinkedIn status update go directly to Twitter. You can have Facebook posts go directly to Twitter. So whenever you have that opportunity, have the linkage go from one platform to the next. YouTube. YouTube is the #2 largest searched tool, and it's not even a search engine. There's 4 billion searches done per day. You can use it for product training, demonstration, getting found. You can do almost anything with YouTube. Show of hands, and then I'll get to the question that I see came up. Show of hands. When was the last time that you needed to find something, how to do something, and you went to YouTube? Some people already anticipated what I was going to say. Okay, we've got a number of people on the webinar, and it looks like at least half of them have gone to YouTube when they've tried to find something, how to do something. So if you are a business who provides a product or a service, you need to have a presence on LinkedIn. I'm sorry, on YouTube. You need to have a presence on YouTube. If nothing else, as an extra, a backup to another company that has that same information out there. Maybe you explain it in a way that's a little bit easier for that consumer to understand. Let's take a look at a couple of the questions that we have from our audience. What if we have a blog on our website outside of a platform? Would it help us to use one of the platforms? I'm not quite sure who asked that question. What my suggestion to you is, if you have a blog, for example, that's on Blogger, you need to have a link from your website to your blog on Blogger. If you can't accommodate the blog on your own website, Blogger is probably your best bet because it is a Google platform. So that's what you can do with that. And then we have another question. What is the best way to update a status or share simultaneously among multiple social media sites beyond Hootsuite? There is another tool that I like, and it's available in Google Chrome, and I think in Mozilla Firefox. It's called Buffer, B-U-F-F-E-R. So look for Buffer, and you can use it and Hootsuite simultaneously. Now, if you want to schedule posts, you can do that directly in Facebook. That's the only platform I have found that can actually schedule posts in advance without using a third-party tool. Now, remember, if you're using a third-party tool, your rankings for that post may diminish. So if you really want to get something out, you need to use the site itself. We have another question. For YouTube, is it necessary for B2C businesses? Yes, it is. In fact, product demonstrations is a great way for B2Cs to take advantage of YouTube. And it might be how your chef prepares a certain meal. Maybe it is in a retail outlet how you can put multiple things together. If it's a hair salon or a nail salon, perhaps you show start to finish an updo for prom. If it's a nail salon, you show somebody getting a manicure and do the time speed so that it is able to be there. Okay, we've got a couple of items. I'm going to move the file pod right here is where you can get the files from this webinar. If you click on the item, and then a box at the bottom will say download files. It will take you to a new website or a new web window, and that's where you will get the file. Make sure that you come back to the webinar, though. I'm hoping that that answers your question, Lori. All right. All right. We're going to, and if you are having problems with the files, we will add those to the news item that we will publish probably hopefully tomorrow or Friday. I'm going to have to talk with Abby because our Chelsea is our normal person that posts those for us, and she happens to be on vacation. Good for Chelsea. Okay, if I have a nonprofit, can I advertise on YouTube for free? I don't think anybody can advertise on any of the platforms for free. But if you use the other social media platforms to your advantage, use all of these other tools that we're talking about, you can get around the need to advertise in most cases without having to pay for that advertising. Okay. Let's move on with our presentation. Google+. Google Plus is changing. It's going to be broken down from what it originally started out as. It was trying to be a Facebook. It didn't work all that well. But there are some very important things that you can use from Google Plus that will benefit your business. There are things called Hangouts. You can have 10 people on a video conference call for free. If you're used to, how many of you know, raise of hands, show you by raising hand, do you know what Skype is? All right, so we've got a lot of people that know what Skype is. If you want to have more than one person on a Skype call, you need to pay for an upgraded subscription to Skype. Google Hangouts gives you the ability to have 10 people on a Hangout for free. You can also apply to Google to have a Hangout channel where you can have just scads of people watch your Hangout. There is the same Streams product that is the same as Facebook Streams or LinkedIn Streams. Everybody's got the stream where you post status updates. Video cooperates very easily with Google+. YouTube, Google+, and Google are all associated. So if your YouTube video needs to get found, you need to make sure that you're posting it on Google+. There will also be a photo stream moving forward. Google is going to be changing this. There's all sorts of research and articles about it happening, but it's not necessarily posted as of the date of this webinar. Because it's associated with Google, if you have a Google Plus profile, you get a whole lot of really cool territory in Google search results. So check out Google Plus if you have not already set that up for your business, whether it's B2B or B2C. Image sites. If a picture is worth 1,000 words, you know that old saying, make sure that you are using the image sites to your advantage. Instagram is the huge elephant in the room in this arena. It is definitely a B2C worthy place to try to ply your business. Flickr is the icon with the two dots, the blue and the pink dot. And then the thing that looks like a pinwheel is Google's new photo stream that we were just talking about in the last slide. What you want to do is share images of your products. You want to share pictures from company events and try to tag as many people as you can in those events. Use it to promote consumer activities. If maybe you're having a photo contest and you're a photographer or a frame shop, you might want to use some of those images and ask people to use a hashtag with that. And definitely with community events. If you're a not-for-profit and you've got a community event going on, you definitely need an Instagram or a photo channel where you can post all of those photo images that are coming out for you. Pinterest, I kind of give Pinterest its own category. Pinterest is the comparison. Here's the comparison that we always use in the industry. Pinterest is to women as fantasy football is to men. Now, if you're not laughing, just give me a good chuckle, just because I can't hear you guys. So that's what Pinterest is, but it leans toward being better for B2C. But some of the things that you can do as a B2B business is post the image that you include in your blog article. Post infographics that you have that are related to your B2B business. If you post that image, it will include a link back to your website. And remember, it's all about driving people back to your website. If you post a dollar figure in the comment section of your post that you're making, it should put a little sales tag across the corner of your image. So if you happen to be an Etsy type kind of person, you can also share that information on Pinterest to help you with your sales options. We have a question here. What are the advantages of posting photos on Instagram over posting photos on Facebook? Well, here's the really cool tool. If you use Instagram, at that last screen before you share it with your audience, you can post it to Facebook as well as to Twitter or Tumblr, a couple of other different options. My suggestion to you is post it to both places. And using Instagram, especially if you're B2C, is very critical for your business because that's where everybody is looking at all of these different things. Hopefully that answered that question for you. I see another one in the Q&A. I'm going to grab this real quick. Are company profiles free on LinkedIn and Facebook and other social media? And can you set up for yourself? Too expensive for someone to do as a startup? Yes, you can set up all of these profiles for free. You do not have to pay for any of them, with the exception of some of the third-party tools to use to help you post. So, for example, we had the comment about Hootsuite and Buffer. I actually pay for an upgraded subscription on both of those because I post for multiple companies. So I use the upgraded subscription. You can set them up. The one suggestion that I make for you is to follow through with someone who specializes in marketing on social media, just to make sure that you're doing it properly, because there is a difference between posting and how to post and how to set things up, and then how to market with it. If you are not following the rules of the organization, of the platform that you're using, you could run into difficulties with it. You may not get the views that you want from your posts. Location sites. Show of hands, how many of you in the audience have a street address for your business? All right, so maybe about a quarter of the audience has a street address. What you want to do with this is you want to make sure that you have your business, specifically your business, set up on the map location sites. I need to take a drink here. With Yelp, Google Places, Bing Local, Yahoo Local, Foursquare, Yellow Pages, there's a whole myriad of sites that you can post to, but you do want to make sure that you're posted on Yelp, Google, Bing, and Yahoo for sure, because those are the major places where people will search for you. If you also, you need to make sure that you can allow check-ins on Facebook and reward people who check in. Perhaps it's, I'll give you a free dessert if you check into my restaurant and show my wait staff your check-in. You also want to reward people who review your business on a particular platform, or maybe all of them. Put them in a monthly drawing for a free, maybe you're a massage therapist, so you throw them into a drawing for a free massage. Maybe you have a car repair place, you could throw them in a drawing for a free oil change and air filter check. The possibilities are endless. So you want to make sure that you're using these location sites to your advantage. Go in, find them, claim them, and optimize them so that you have all of the information in there for your business instead of letting people who have reviewed your business put that information out there for you. Check frequently on any reviews on your site, and do not engage in an online he said, she said kind of thing. My suggestion to you is, if you have a negative review on any of your sites, comment on the review and ask them, please call, put the phone number in so that we can discuss your issue. I'd like to make things as right as possible for you. Do not ever go into the, oh no, you didn't do this. Always just say, please contact us. Google has an option available, and it does cost money, to get a 360-degree view of your business. This is an opportunity that if you have a restaurant or a retail store, you may want to invest in that 360-degree view. If nothing else, make sure that you put up as many pictures of your business as you can, as are allowed on the site itself. ENews. When I was researching which one to use, there are probably 50 sites that you can use to email newsletters on a regular basis. One of the things that a statistic that I share when I give this presentation is that 78% of people bought their smartphone so that they could read emails on the go. Emails, e-news had fallen out of favor just because everybody was just inundated with emails, and that tide has turned because of the high use of smartphones. What you can do is you can compile different posts from the various sites where you post them, different news that you've posted throughout the week or the 2 weeks, depending on how often you send your e-news. Compile the best pieces into a newsletter. Share news, blog articles, things that are going on in your business as items. Offer coupons, provide tips, talk about new features of an item or a new product. But remember, don't overshare. Most people will unsubscribe or turn you off and not read it, just delete it, if you send too many. And please ask your customers if you can subscribe them to your e-news, because there is Spam Act that you do not want to be accused of and have your whole email system shut down. All right, we have a question from the audience. I'm going to try and answer this for you. I have a pet sitting business that is 7 months old. I would like to offer a prize for positive reviews. Any suggestions? I would put a sign up on by your checkout counter. I would say, please review me on all of the different platforms where you have review capabilities, and then you will be entered into a drawing for a prize, and name that prize if you want to. Otherwise, you can leave it very vague and just say a prize, and then say what the time period is that you're going to save that, how often you're going to draw. So if it's going to be once a month, once every other month, whatever it is, that would be what you would put in that, in your offering your prize for the reviews. I hope that answered your question. What do you consider to be too frequent sharing? If somebody has signed up for a newsletter, I get a Smart Brief on a couple of different topics, and Smart Brief sends out a daily compilation of news that they have found across a number of platforms. It saves me a lot of time, so I check that Smart Brief email every day. If you as a small business are sharing an update every day, that may be too frequently, unless you are a restaurant and you have a different daily special. Somebody will look for that email news so that they can see what's going on. My suggestion, though, is poll your audience as they come along, and then give them options to change their subscription. Maybe they don't want a daily update. Maybe they only want a weekly update. If you're using a tool like Constant Contact, you can change your audience and change the number of times that they get a newsletter. And we have another question. It's what social media platforms would be best for a church stewardship campaign asking for a yearly monetary pledge? For a church, I would say that you are B2C. So I would use all of the platforms in this presentation that are tagged as B2C. You may need to do a special campaign for that stewardship, because usually a stewardship program is compacted into a specific time period, maybe 6 months to a year. So you might have to plan out your posts so that you're not bombarding people with something at the very beginning, and then not doing anything later down the road. Hopefully that answers your question, Marcia. And we have another question. What platform would you use to advertise for Park District? Park District to me is very B2C. So again, all of the B2C platforms that we talked about in the presentation today. What you can do, look at the point. To determine what you are, look at who is your end consumer. If your end consumer is another individual, then it would be the B2C platforms. If your end user is another business, it would be the B2B platforms. And as you are looking at those different tools on the handout especially, take a look and then ask your clients, what platform do you use most? Start with that. Don't try to do everything all at once. Try to do one, get really good at that, and then move on to the next one. Let's see. Let's move on to, okay, we're on questions, so let's find what else we have to answer here. What platforms are best used for job searching? Now, this is social media for marketing your business. We do have a link on Illinois WorkNet, and we'll go to that. We'll go to a page that has some links on it in just a moment. But you can go to Illinois WorkNet and find our information on Illinois WorkNet. And Abby, if you can find that page and put that link in our presenter chat, I will add it to the links pod when we get to that page. Valerie asks, your advice for best social media platforms for B2C event planners. Depends on whether you're a wedding planner or an event planner, but you would want to definitely be on Facebook, Instagram, and if you are a wedding planner, you would want to make sure that that you are using there's a couple of wedding sites, and right now at this moment I cannot remember all three of them. So you would want to make sure that you're on those sites and making sure that you're using those sites for your best efforts. But definitely Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter would be that wedding planner thing. Let's see, we have, will you be offering Social Media 101 classes soon? I think a lot of people need to know the basics. Felicia, that's what I do for a living, so I don't know that we would be doing that through Illinois WorkNet, but we can investigate that. And this webinar is being recorded for future viewing, so if you have the need to watch this over again, you can do that. And let's take a look and see if I have any more questions here. We have a question about police stations. They are probably, I would say, government agencies are probably B2C, although they kind of deal with the whole community. But I'm thinking that if they want to send out alerts, that would probably be through Facebook, as most Facebook and Twitter, as most of them would want to get to the community members as soon as possible. Okay, let's switch over to our closing pod. I'm going to add the page here to the links pod. The links pod is in the upper right-hand corner. So give me just a second before you log out today so that I can find that job search page and get that into our pod there. And while I'm looking for that, I'm going to ask you to complete those polls at the bottom of the page. And here I've just got the link, and I'm going to add a new link. I actually did a series of little mini webinars on job search and social media. So you can have that, that link is now at the bottom of the web links from today's presentation. So if you want to take a look at those, you can find that. We have another question. Is there a social media chair description somewhere that you can suggest for a 501c3 community organization? Wow. I'm thinking this question means that you want a job description for somebody on a volunteer basis. Is that what you're asking, Fallon? And if that is what you're asking, I would suggest that you, look at go to Career Builder or Monster or LinkedIn even, and look for social media coordinator. Many people may offer to do that service for your organization as a gift in kind or gift in trade for the advertising. So you may be able to do that for your organization. That's a possibility. And we do have a question from the audience. How can we contact you if we want to use your services? I'm going to put my website address in the chat pod so that you can reach out to me if you want to. And there you go. And thank you so much for joining us today. I don't see any additional questions coming in. Please make sure that you download the handouts for future use. Thank you for the applause, Garcia. To submit your webinar answers, all you have to do is click on the little circles or the boxes to let you know, to let us know what you thought about the webinar. All right, I'm going to end the recording right now. I don't see any additional questions. Thank you, Pat. Thank you, Valerie, for the applause. I appreciate it. I'm going to end the recording now. Thank you. Have a great day. Watch for the news article on this so that you can watch the recording again if you need to. Have a great rest of your day.